You're just going to see two of the best. And if I was a fan, I'd pay because you're going to see two of the better arms in the game.
Welcome to Petco Park in San Diego for the third and final game of the three-game series between the Red Sox and the Padres. Hi again, everybody. I'm Don Orsillo, and welcome to Red Sox baseball. Last game of the series, last game of interleague play in 2007 for the Red Sox. Last year, they were 16-2. Not quite as good this year, but still the third best winning percentage, only behind the Angels and Tigers. They're 11-6 this season, 3 wins by Daisuke Matsuzaka, an average of .266, with Coco Crisp leading the way at .344. 22 homers, J.D. Drew with 4 of them, and while the ERA 3.99, the bullpen at just 1.05. Papelbon with 4 saves and 4 tries, and the Red Sox are 5-3 on the road against the National League. Welcome in Jerry Remy, and Jerry, the marquee pitching matchup, Peavy against Beckett, doesn't get any better.
No, in today's game of baseball, which is offensive-minded, I mean, to see a matchup like this is something special, and I think if you're a hitter, you'd probably like to take the day off today, but great numbers for both guys. You can see the 9-1 record for Peavy, 110 strikeouts to lead the league, and the 1.98 ERA. Now, that's in the National League. It might be a little bit higher if he was pitching in the American League, and of course, we all know about Josh Beckett's numbers, the 10-1, 3.14. Both guys are going to be all-stars without a question, and both guys are hoping to lead their team into postseason play. And, you know, sometimes these matchups don't live up to the hype. You know, you get to the ballpark, you expect a great game from both, and maybe one of them's off. That's certainly what the hitters are hoping for today, because it doesn't get much better than this. Peavy against Beckett in the final game. 2 great pitches in a big ballpark.
They've combined to go 19-2. The first pitch from San Diego coming your way next. Boston Red Sox baseball on NESN is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, your New England Subaru dealers, Foxwoods Resort Casino, your New England Dodge dealers, Rico, and by your New England Toyota dealers. And welcome to Petco Park in San Diego for the third and final game of this series. A beautiful day, as all of them have been in San Diego. And the Padres have taken the field, so let's check out the Red Sox starting 9, brought to you by New England Dodge dealers. Coco Crisp at the top spot of the Red Sox order in center field, with Alex Cora at second base, David Ortiz at first base, Manny Ramirez in left field, J.D. Drew in right, Mike Lowell back at third base with Jason Varitek doing the catching. Julio Lugo bats 8th at shortstop, and Josh Beckett will bat 9th. The starting pitcher is brought to you by Panasonic, and it's Jake Peavy for the Padres.
Well, the numbers for Peavy are just unbelievable. 9-1 on the season. The only loss comes to the Washington Nationals. The 1.98 is the best in the league, and the 204 batting average. He also leads the league in strikeouts with 110. He has never faced the Boston Red Sox.
Coco Crisp ready to go. Jake Peavy ready to go. And the first pitch of this one is a ball outside. Coco Crisp at .254, 4 homers and 21 runs batted in. A beautiful 72-degree day here in San Diego. And a 1-0 that Crisp will take to shallow left, and Branyan towards the line makes the catch for the first out.
The San Diego defense is brought to you by the New England Ford dealers. They are third in the league. They've made 40 errors in 73 games. Kevin Guzman off the third baseman. Khalil Green, big night last night, will be at shortstop. Jeff Blum gets a start at second, and Adrian Gonzalez at first base. Left to right, Russell Branyan, Mike Cameron in his 3 Gold Gloves, Jose Cruz Jr., Michael Barrett back behind the plate for Peavy.
Dana DeMuth has got the plate for the umpires. Gerald Cousins at first base, Brian Knight at second, and Doug Eddings He is the umpire at third as Cora, the recipient of strike one.
Well, you'll see the fastball, the curveball, the slider, maybe the best pitch for Peavy, and a cut fastball.
Off the outside edge that time, and it's 1-1. Cora at second base today, giving Dustin Pedroia the day off. He hits at .276 with 2 homers and 14 runs batted in. And Cora, one of the guys that has faced Peavy, not a lot of success, however. He's just 3 for 21 against Peavy. Peavy facing the Red Sox for the first time in his career in this final interleague contest of the year for the Red Sox, as Cora will get aboard, hit by the pitch.
That's a slider from Peavy that just goes back down and in on the foot of Alex Cora. No way to get out of the way of it. Red Sox will take base runners against Peavy any way you can get them.
David Ortiz bats with 1 out and 1 on. Where available, this telecast can be heard in Spanish by selecting the SAP button on your television remote. Enjoy the game.
Buenas tardes, amigos.
Cora with the lead off first as Ortiz takes strike one. 94 from Peavy. David starting the day hitting at .324 with 13 homers and 46 runs batted in. He is 2 for his last 13 in the 2-part, both for home runs. 4 for 22 on the road trip is David Ortiz. And he laces it foul out ahead of that pitch into the seats. This player profile is brought to you by Sovereign Bank, the official bank of the Red Sox cable network. Back in 04, leading the league in ERA and in strikeouts. Starts today with a 1.98 ERA. Only Heron's got a better earned run average in the majors. The 0-2 pitch. Ortiz tried to hold up and does, according to Doug Eddings.
You see that fastball getting up there to 94 miles an hour with movement. That ball running away from David Ortiz, up and away. And Big Papi able to check the swing.
Ortiz strikes out. First strikeout for Jake Peavy. His high on the season is 16. Did that at Arizona. He's got strikeout number 1 of the day.
And again, almost that same pitch up and away from David Ortiz. A lot of movement going away from Ortiz at 95 miles an hour. That's nasty.
2 outs in the first. Cora still at first. And here's Manny Ramirez. Only hitting it at even 300 now. 11 homers and 41 runs batted in. And a 6-game hitting streak come to an end last night. An 0 for 3 showing as he starts off behind. He had reached base safely also in 28 straight games via a hit or a walk before being blanked last night and being kept off the base paths. And a great effort last night by the tall right-hander Chris Young, who stymied the Red Sox. To short, Khalil Green will go the easy way to second on the force out that ends the inning. Padres coming up. Last half of the first inning back in San Diego. Padres coming up, and their starting 9 is brought to you by Rico. Jose Cruz Jr. in right field. Michael Barrett doing the catching. Adrian Gonzalez at first base. Mike Cameron in center field. Khalil Green the shortstop. Russell Branyan in left. Kevin Kuzminov at third base. Jeff Blum at second. And Jake Peavy bats ninth. The starting pitcher is brought to you by Panasonic, and today for the Red Sox, it's Josh Beckett.
Start number 14 for Beckett. He is 10-1. He got that 10th win last time against Atlanta. 6 innings in that game, 4 hits and no runs. In his career, 5 starts against San Diego, 4-1 with a 2.14 ERA.
And it's Jose Cruz Jr. leads it off for the Padres. And a count of 1-1 to the right fielder, who checks in at 269. 5 homers and 17 runs batted in. The pitch missing inside makes it 2-1. Cruz a switch hitter. And has appeared in all 3 games of this series against the Red Sox. Former member of the Red Sox, played in 4 games. The 2005 edition of the Sox.
Giles, who has been leading off out of there today, he doesn't have very good numbers against Beckett. You know, Beckett on the road has been unbelievable. 5 starts away from Fenway this year. 5-0, 1.59 ERA.
I mentioned Marcus Giles with the day off. Brian Giles, the normal right fielder here for the Padres, has been sent out for a rehab stint. A strike, and it's a full count now.
This is good old-fashioned hardball here this afternoon with Peavy and Beckett.
The big old yard behind him here in San Diego, as we have seen in this series. But as you mentioned off the top, the day game may make it a little bit different here today as far as the ball carrying. Cruz Jr. strikes out, 1 away.
Well, we talk about Peavy having a lot of movement on his fastball. Every now and then Josh Beckett will throw that 2-seamer and it'll run away from the lefties. This at 97 miles an hour.
So 1 down here in the first inning. Here's Michael Barrett, the newcomer to the Padres, who had a couple of hits here in the first game of this series. It's a .256, 9 homers, and 30 runs batted in. Coming over from the Cubs. And fouling the first pitch back to the backstop. Last night, former Red Sox catcher Josh Bard was in the game. He had a nice night last night. Barrett picked up on the 20th of June. Cash considerations from the Cubs. And was quickly down 0-2. He's 2 for 4 here in the first game of the series. His first 2 hits in a Padres uniform. 1 for 8 in his career against Josh Beckett.
I'll tell you what, if it's possible to have better weather than what we have here today, I don't know where you're going to find it. This is absolutely spectacular this afternoon. No humidity. Very comfortable temperatures. What a beautiful day.
72 degrees. Strike 3. Barrett knew it. Takes with him the second strikeout from Josh Beckett.
Now the curveball this time from Beckett. Mostly fastball so far in the game with 2 strikes to Barrett. He shows him the curveball and Barrett has to watch it. No complaint from the San Diego catcher.
So 2 down, and it brings up Adrian Gonzalez. True power threat for the Padres. They don't have many of them, but Gonzalez leading with 14 homers, 51 runs batted in, and he checks in hitting at .290. Framed by Varitek, but it's a ball. This is a Padres team who pitches a ton. They've got very good defense as well. But offensively, they hit as a club at just .246. It's only the White Sox with a lower batting average as a team than the Padres in the majors. Right side softly at Cora. It's a quick and easy 12 pitch 1-2-3 first for Beckett. Done with 1. Scoreless from San Diego. Top of the second inning back in San Diego, as leading it off for the Red Sox is J.D. Drew. Drew at .244 with 6 homers and 30 runs batted in. He's just 1 for 14 in his career against Peavy. And it's a ball and a strike now to the Red Sox right fielder. Drew returning to the Red Sox lineup yesterday after sitting out Friday with tightness in the right quadricep muscle, and left the game on Wednesday in Atlanta with that quadricep problem. Disagrees with strike 2. He's down 1-2.
Yeah, back-to-back changeups from Peavy, and that ball appeared to be outside, but getting the call is Jake Peavy.
Ooh, maybe a makeup.
Now that was a better pitch than the previous one. This is a slider that seems to pick up the outside corner. That had more of the plate than the changeup did.
All even now. And that just missing. A full count. Drew with 5 RBIs in his last 7 games. And breaks his bat, grounds it down the line to Gonzalez. Over his Peavy, got to hurry up, and he gets there in time. He tumbles but gets the out. With J.D. Drew running, you got to be quick to the bag, and Peavy gets there just in time.
Yeah, you'd think it'd be a lot easier for Gonzalez to make that play. He almost got his pitcher hurt as he was a little bit late getting over to first base. It becomes a foot race, and then he trips as he's near the bag. Could have got stepped on, spiked. I think he was a little surprised himself that Gonzalez didn't take it by himself.
Give him a little extra time as his catcher Michael Barrett went out. Dana DeMuth out there as well.
Why does DeMuth feel like he has to give the pitcher extra time?
Professional courtesy, I guess.
Baloney.
Mike Lowell stands in with 1 out here in the 2nd inning. The 298, 12 homers and 51 runs batted in. Lowell coming back to the Red Sox lineup yesterday. Had not started in the 3 previous games due to the sprained left thumb. And has had a tough time at the plate. He's done well against Peavy, 4 for 8. One of the few guys that has had success, but he's just 2 for his last 20. Outside, 2-1. Peavy with 1 strikeout. He struck out David Ortiz in the 1st inning. As Varitek waits on deck here in the 2nd. Evens at 2-2. Today marks only the 3rd time in Major League Baseball history that 2 opposing starters, Peavy and Beckett, each have had 9 or more wins, 1 or few losses. As striking out is Lowell. 2nd strikeout for Peavy. There's 2 down.
Well, his first strikeout to David Ortiz was on a fastball at 95 miles an hour. This is the slider from Peavy to pick up his 2nd strikeout. That's a late breaking slider. And of course, Mike Lowell, one of the toughest guys in the league to strike out. That's only the 25th time he has struck out this season.
2 down for Varitek. 268, 7 homers and 32 runs batted in. We'll try that again. Each with 9 or more wins, 1 or fewer losses. The last time it happened in the majors, it happened on June 16th of '97. At the time, Toronto's Roger Clemens was 11-1, and he faced off against Atlanta's Denny Nagel, who was 9-1 at the time. Two down. Varitek with a count of 1-1. And it's 2-1 now to Jason.
You know, we mentioned the incredible numbers for Peavy. He has only given up on the season 1 home run. And that's in 100 innings coming into the ball game. That's amazing.
Grabs the corner to even the count of 2-2.
Well, you put Peavy and Young together, and they've got the longest current homerless streak in the majors this season. He's not giving up a home run in 75 innings. As Varitek skies one down the left field line, Branyan towards the line, still going, and it'll fall. The two will collide pretty hard. Varitek is headed for third base. The throw to third base, and Varitek, as the ball gets away, is safe. Quite a collision. Green and Branyan in left. And Varitek to third base with 2 down in the inning.
Well, this is one of the strangest triples you'll ever see. First of all, the collision out here between Branyan and Khalil Green. And then when Varitek gets to second base, he realizes that nobody's covering third. And it's actually Peavy, the pitcher, who has to hustle over to try to get to third base. Now the throw comes in, and Varitek has to slide around the tag, up and over it. Wow. That's one of the strangest triples you'll ever see.
And a tough inning for Peavy, who's had to run all over the place, first at first base and now covering third base. The uniform is dirty here early for the pitcher.
Have you ever seen a pitcher with that kind of a dirty uniform this early in a game?
Right out of the gate.
I mean, he's diving in the first base, he's falling past it, he's diving in the third like he's trying to make a tackle on Varitek.
And Balsley, the pitching actually, it's going to be Bud Black who comes out along with the trainer just to help him out here a little bit.
And Tito's going to come out and question what's going on here. They bring out all kind of stuff to help clean Peavy up, especially his hands.
Is it a medical visit or is it a trip to the mound?
Now, this has got to be a trip to the mound.
Bring the trainer with you. And Francona trying to get confirmation from Dana Demuth.
Here's the fall at first base by Peavy. He's lucky here he didn't get stepped on by J.D. Drew, both on the foot and on the hand. And then going to third base to try to put the tag on Varitek. How about Varitek sliding up and around? As Peavy really never had the control of the ball.
So Varitek 90 feet away. Chance here for the Red Sox early against Peavy. And it's Julio Lugo. Certainly struggled offensively this season. He hits at just 196. He's under the 200 mark. 4 homers and 34 runs batted in. Hitless in his last 23 at bats. But ahead 2-0.
Even though Lugo's struggling, 196 average, Peavy's certainly aware that Beckett is on deck.
And Beckett has a hit this season. He's 1 for 7. Of course, the RBI double. As Lugo swinging away at 3-0 and grounds it foul.
Yeah, you'd certainly give him the green light with the pitcher on deck. You want him swinging the bat.
Peavy got Drew to ground out, Lowell to strike out, the triple for Jason Varitek. The collision by Green and Branyan. Well, the 3-1 is in there for strike 95 that time from Peavy, and it's a full count. Seeing nothing but capacity crowds at Petco Park. Another one today, and they're fired up. The 3-2. Lugo grounds it at Gonzalez, and Peavy gets out of the jam. Red Sox will lead Varitek at third, scoreless after an inning and a half.
Let NESN put your summer on ice with Bruins Summer Sunday. Join Andy Brickley tonight at 10 for a look back at a Bruins classic from an April 2004 showdown with the Montreal Canadiens. Tonight and every Sunday is a Bruins Summer Sunday on NESN.
Second inning scoreless back in San Diego. Mike Cameron, Khalil Green, and Russell Branyan to face Josh Beckett. Retired the side in order on 2 strikeouts and on just 12 pitches. As a broken bat grounder, Lugo around the bag at second and in time to get Cameron.
FW Webb is proud that the official supplier of plumbing, heating, and cooling supplies for the Boston Red Sox. To learn more about how FW Webb can help you, contact your local professional contractor or visit fwweb.com. FW Webb, we've got it.
One down for the shortstop, Khalil Green, who homered twice in the game last night. He's got 11 home runs on the season now. 245 average and 43 runs batted in. He's been hot, 11 for his last 25, hitting at .440. And that one misses. 2-0. On deck is Russell Branyan as the Padres bat here in the bottom of the second inning. Field line and tailing foul. Home runs 10 and 11 last night for Khalil Green as part of the attack for the Padres against Tim Wakefield. A ballpark that certainly plays big, but the Padres last night with some home runs. Backstop foul, 2-2, 97 that time from Josh Beckett. Only lost this season against the Colorado Rockies back on the 14th of June for Beckett. Allowing 6 runs in 5 innings on 10 hits. But he bounced back nicely last time out with a victory at Atlanta against the Braves. A 6-inning shutout effort for him. Terry Francona had been ejected for the second time this season. Ejected from last night's game. Fooled him, and Green strikes out. 3rd K of the day for Josh Beckett.
Now once again the good curveball here from Josh Beckett to pick up the strikeout. His 3rd. 2 of them have been on the curveball. I was talking to Francona early this morning in the clubhouse, and he said, I knew I was going in that game last night. It was just a matter of which one was going to throw me out. He says, I know they got both calls right. He said, but geez, you know.
Doesn't help his frustration level in it.
No.
So 2 down in the inning. Russell Branyan the batter. And a swing and a miss. Branyan hitting at just .214. He's got some pop though. 6 homers, 17 runs batted in. And over the years he's kind of been one-dimensional as far as home runs go. He strikes out a ton. And takes the ball inside. The key matchup is brought to you by Killian's. He's got good numbers against Josh Beckett. The center field. And the first hit of the day for the Padres with 2-out single for Russell Branyan.
Well, we've mentioned many times in this series, Branyan, if you go upstairs on him, that's where he has trouble making contact. That's a breaking ball away and down, and he gets the base hit to center field. So his good numbers continue against Beckett.
So 2 away, and Branyan at first base. Here's Kevin Kuzminoff, third baseman for the Padres. 225, 5 homers, and 29 runs batted in. On the hands and popped up foul off to the right. Kuzmanov ranking among National League rookies. One of the tops in a lot of categories. RBIs, he's third with 29. Doubles, third with 12. And fifth among rookies with 5 home runs. Missed 5 games earlier this month with the lower back strain. And has played in all 3 games of this series against the Red Sox. Boston Red Sox baseball on NESN is brought to you by Acura. Olympia Sports, the official sporting goods retailer of the New England Sports Network. And by Dunkin' Donuts. 2 down here in the last half of the second inning. Russell Branyan at first base. And Kuzmanov down 0-2. Left side, softly hit. Lugo goes to second after a quick hesitation, and he's still able to get Branyan on the force out. It ends the inning. Through 2 are scoreless from San Diego. Back in San Diego, scoreless as we head to the top half of the third. Fans from Gray, Maine, here in San Diego on a beautiful afternoon. Josh Beckett leading it off.
Got about everybody covered on that sign.
Pretty much. Beckett 1 for 7 so far on the season, including an RBI double and a run on Tuesday in Atlanta. Here, 149 hitter. Total of 9 doubles in his career. As he takes the strike. 2 career home runs. One in a Red Sox uniform, May 20th. Last year at Philadelphia, hit one off Brett Myers.
I don't think Beckett can believe he's still standing at home plate. Barrett didn't even have to move the glove.
To third, and Kuzmanov, who's had a tough time, picks this on the half hop, and there's one away. Let's check in for the first time with Tina Cervasio.
Don, Red Sox president and CEO Larry Lucchino is building his legacy in Major League Baseball as a man who creates amazing ballparks. He was the brains and creativity behind Camden Yards and right here Petco Park when he was the CEO and president of the Padres in 1995 through 2001. Now in Boston, Lucchino continues changing and improving Fenway Park, his original inspiration.
And the irony, of course, is Fenway was inspirational to us when we did Camden Yards.
Okay.
And the irregularity, the intimacy, the proximity of the seats to the field, the quirkiness. But what's happening now is that we are trying to add some of the creature comforts, some of the amenities that we had at Camden Yards and other more modern ballparks back to Fenway without losing the charm and the essential essence of what Fenway was.
Well, a beautiful ballpark here, and so is Camden Yards for that matter. But this one's got some nooks and crannies and character, as we mentioned in the first game of the series. You get that Petco porch that jets out in right field. You got the warehouse in left, and so many different parts of this ballpark, which are fantastic. Padres got a very good yard here. And there's the warehouse that stood here in the early 1900s and stands here today. A little different setting around it now than was here in the past. Not just this ballpark, but this entire area in San Diego is built up as a result of this ballpark being here now.
One of the great things, too, I think, is all the new construction that has gone up around here. And we look at those big condos that are out in right field and people watching. And I mean, they are way up there. To the right of that, there's another building that people are even higher. They're a long way away from the ballpark.
Yep, seats inside the park certainly tough to come by in this series this weekend, which has been incredible for all the games. The number of Red Sox fans have been amazing too. 44,457 last night marked the third highest total ever to watch a game here at Petco since it opened in 2004. A check swing foul, and the full count to Coco Crisp. They sold out the 3-game series when they went on sale during the offseason in about 2 hours. This fouls it off, and it's still a full count.
I did make an executive decision last night in a very late night cabinet meeting, Don, and I've decided that on the West Coast for Red Sox Nation, I think Sonny McLean's is going to be the Weston Red House. And whoever is the vice president or chairman, whatever you want to call it, is going to operate out of Sonny McLean's, because they do a wonderful job organizing these trips down to San Diego and to Anaheim and up to Oakland. So why not have that as the Weston Red House?
Well, a lot of them were here last night making a trip down. This one out towards right center, falling fast. Cruz Jr. is not going to get there, nor is Cameron. Falls into right center field, a 1-out base hit for Crisp, who has been hot lately for the Red Sox.
Now, Cruz had a chance at that, but he backed off thinking that his center fielder, Mike Cameron, was going to call him off and make the play. And once he stopped, then he had no chance to get to it, so it drops in. It's the slider from Peavy into that gap, and you'll see Cruz stop as he takes a look, and then the ball just bounces in between he and Cameron.
So a 9-game hitting streak now for Coco Crisp. As check at first base and back to the bag is Crisp.
And again, I believe you have to try to run on Peavy. You know, you can run this whole pitching staff, but in this type of game with the pitchers the way they have it, I mean, one run is huge.
This will be the 50th pitch for Peavy. Going to throw 22 of them in the second inning. And the pitch count rising for him. 1 out, 1 on. He's ahead of Cora, who was hit by a pitch in the first inning. Coco Crisp, who is now 4 for 9 in the series, and a stolen base in the first game of the series. Cora quickly down 0-2.
And that eliminates any type of hit and run play here between Cora and Crisp at first base. And when you're facing pitches like you are today, you can't sit around. You have to try to make things happen. I mean, you're facing a guy that's given up 1 home run all year.
Away, Cora not chasing. 1-2.
Of the 3 pitches we've seen, Peavy is the quickest to home plate.
Outside, and it's 2-2. Yeah, the Red Sox finally could run against Maddox, certainly, and then Young, the tall right-hander, 6'10".
And Maddox, at times, they were telling us, was 1.7, 1.8 to home plate. And, of course, that's just a green light to go. On a slide step, though, he was 1.2. A lot of pitchers don't like to use the slide step because they feel that takes something away from their stuff.
Something we heard for many years from Joe Kerrigan during his reign. And some Red Sox pitchers having to fall along with that, and some tough numbers for guys like Scott Hatteberg during those years, and Jason Varitek in his early portion of his career. Nice foul off to the left, still 2-2.
You know, the general rule of thumb, you figure catchers at the major league level average about 2 seconds to get the ball down at second base. And if you have a pitcher that's 1.4, 1.5, you've got to go. Anything under 1.3 for a pitcher, it's almost impossible. Unless you get a bad throw from the catcher.
No foul ball, and the pitch count rising here for Peavy. An even 100 pitches last time out, the victory against the Orioles in a 6-inning effort. to right and a base hit for Cora. Nice at bat for Alex Cora. Get down 0-2, fouled off a bunch of pitches, and gets a base hit to right.
Yeah, it's a good battle by Cora, and it's back-to-back hits on sliders from Peavy. That slider stayed upstairs, probably the worst one he's thrown so far in this game. That's just flat and right out over the plate, and Cora hooks it for the base hit.
Well, it's taken 17 pitches to get through the last two hitters in Crisp and Cora. Not economical at the moment for Peavy, and here's Ortiz. The Red Sox having another opportunity. They left Veritek at third base last inning. As Ortiz takes ball one. David struck out in the first inning. One of only 2 strikeouts so far for Jake Peavy. And this season has had 4 games in which he has struck out 10 or more, including a 16 strikeout effort against Arizona back on April 25th. Peavy was first in the National League in earned run average at 1.98, and second in the major leagues, only behind Dan Herron with a 1.78 for the Oakland Athletics. First in strikeouts with 110. And ahead of Ortiz, 1-2.
David missed a good one, too. That fastball was down in the zone. That's his pitch, and just fouls it back.
Crisp at second, Cora at first, 1 down. Manny waits on deck. A bluff off the backside.
Back in the first inning, it was a fastball up and away from David Ortiz for the strikeout. Let's see what he does with him here on the 1-2 count.
Back to the gas, and it's fouled off back to the backstop.
Yeah, back upstairs. David missed that fastball that was down, and then right back upstairs goes Peavy.
Josh Beckett to ground out, and a single for Crisp, single for Cora. Now the 1-2. On the ground right side and through into right field, a base hit. Crisp being waved around. The throw goes to third base. It's off the mark. Red Sox lead it 1-0.
Well, Peavy has been beaten 3 times in this inning on his slider. It was Crisp with a slider for the base hit. It was Cora on a slider for a base hit. And now a slider again to David Ortiz. He tops it, but he finds that hole between first and second, and the Red Sox take the 1-0 lead. A diving attempt by Blum to try to knock it down. He can't, and that brings Coco home with the first run of the game.
Three straight hits for the Red Sox here in the third inning after he got the first out. And a chance for Manny with runners at first and third. Grounded into a fielder's choice, and he is first at bat. And he had a 6-game hitting streak come to an end here last night as he was 0 for 3 in the middle game of this 3-game series. That's with Cora at third base. Ortiz crossed the diamond at first. Fly ball to right. Jose Cruz Jr.'s got it sized up. Makes the catch as Cora will try it. There's no throw, and it's a 2-0 Red Sox lead. RBI number 42 for Manny Ramirez.
Now the 3-4 combination. Ortiz with the base hit to drive it a run. Manny with the long sacrifice fly. Not even an attempt to throw home by Cruz. And the Red Sox have the 2-0 lead.
So 2 down, Ortiz at first base, and here's J.D. Drew. He grounded out to the first baseman, Adrian Gonzalez, in his first at bat. Prior to the injury in Atlanta, the stiff quadricep muscle, he had been leading off for the Red Sox 7 straight games, but returned to the number 5 spot in the Red Sox order last night and is there again today.
Now he may get back to leadoff tomorrow when they get back to allowing the pitchers to hit. Although Coco Crisp has been hot recently, who knows? He may stay at the top of the lineup. We'll see.
Ball and a strike now to J.D. Drew. Jake Peavy up to 65 pitches through 2 2/3 innings. And a strike to Drew, 1-2. Well, the Red Sox are the second best road record in the major leagues, 24-14 coming into today. They're behind the Tigers, who are 26-15. And of course, interleague play coming to an end today for the Red Sox. Third best interleague winning percentage, only behind the Tigers and Angels. Drew chops it right side. One bobbles in and will get nobody. Up to second goes Big Papi. The ball gets away briefly. But a base hit for J.D. Drew.
I'm surprised that goes as a base hit. I'm glad Drew got a hit, but it certainly looked like an error on Blum at second base.
Sure did. If he plays it cleanly, he's got a lot of time.
Yeah, he does, and he doesn't have to go that far to make that play. He just booted it, and there's nobody covered first base. Where was Gonzalez going?
Almost looked like he may have thought it got thrown. He was getting ready for the cutoff. I don't know.
Yeah, that was there was nobody there. Gonzalez wasn't even in the picture, and then Peavy was getting over to first base. But in my mind, this should be an out.
So a hit granted this time, and it's 5 hits now for the Red Sox. The first for J.D. Drew, the 4th hit of the inning. And it's first and second, 2 down for Mike Lowell. And a chance for more damage here against Jake Peavy. Mike struck out in the second inning. And take strike 1 from Peavy. Well, since 2004, Jake Peavy has 714 strikeouts. That's 3rd in the majors. And only Johan Santana and Randy Johnson. There's Lowell to right. Cruz coming on, won't get it. Papi's going to try and score. The throw to the plate, and Big Papi is safe. 3-0 Red Sox.
Now the misplay by Blum at second base becomes very, very big as Lowell just reaches out and taps one into right field in front of Cruz. Big Papi coming around, and he's going to slide and get home plate with his hand. Cruz with a very good throwing arm, didn't get rid of the ball clean, but there's Papi coming around with the hand getting home plate. So this is a huge inning right here against Peavy, 3 runs.
So first and third now with 2 down, 3 runs in. And Jason Varitek, who tripled his first time up. Big Poppy going full speed from second base on the base hit to right for Mike Lowell. And the pitch outside. So the Red Sox come in on a day in which they are facing a pitcher who comes in at 9-1 with a 1.98 earned run average. They scored 3 times in the third. The pitch count rising. And Varitek, the 7th man to bat in the inning, goes the opposite way. Branyan back and will make the running catch onto the track to conclude the inning. But the damage done. The Red Sox put a 3 spot on the board. 3-0 Boston.
This pitch sequence is brought to you by Commonwealth Health Connect. To cover your bases, connect to health. And this is the David Ortiz at bat. Fouls off the slider. Fastball down in the middle end and fouls it off. Tries to go back upstairs. A foul ball, then the breaking ball. Slider again. Ortiz with the topspin ground ball to drive in the first run of the ball game.
Well, a good first 2 innings for Peavy. Not so good in the third inning, and a lot of pitches throughout. As Jeff Blum leads it off for the Padres. Josh Beckett now with a 3-run lead. As Blum getting the start at second base. Hits it 180 with a home run, 9 runs batted in. After we saw Marcus Giles in the first 2 games of the series. Long wait for Beckett, 23 minutes, while the Red Sox were compiling 3 runs. Beckett with 3 strikeouts through the first 2 innings today. Only 1 hit and a single for Russell Branyan in the second inning. A swing and a miss, evens it count at 2-2.
Good changeup by Josh Beckett. That changeup 85. A lot of times we see his changeup 88, 89.
Now in his 3rd season with the San Diego Padres. And up for the Montreal Expos organization. 3 seasons with the Expos, couple in Houston, half season in Tampa Bay, and now his 3rd year with the Padres. The pitcher Jake Peavy in behind him, and then Jose Cruz Jr. expected in the inning. Get ready with the 3-2 pitch. Right side and into right field. A base hit. Second Padres hit. First time today they've had the lead runner on.
Al Blum now 2 for 6 in his career against Beckett. 3-2 fastball from Josh, and Blum with the topspin ground ball to the right side. All the hits in that inning against Peavy were on breaking ball sliders. That base hit, the fastball from Beckett.
Well, here is Jake Peavy hitting at .219. No homers. He has knocked in 4 runs. Breakdown 7 hits and 32 at bats for the Padres pitcher. He's squaring to bunt and getting it down. There's Lowell who picks and fires, throwing to first to get Peavy. The sacrifice goes 5-4 on the putout at first.
Nesson and the Boston Globe are about to redefine New England sports debate on the Globe 10.0 presented by Verizon. In Tuesday's premiere, host Bob Ryan and his guest Dan Shaughnessy will tackle the top 10 topics of the day. Watch the Globe 10.0 every Tuesday through Thursday at 5:30, the new prime time, and get the point.
One away, Blum in scoring position at second base, and it's second time through the Padres order now for Beckett. Jose Cruz Jr. struck out swinging in the first inning. It's a fly ball to right. J.D. Drew is headed back. Makes the catch, and tagging is Blum heading for third base. He'll get there with now 2 down in the inning.
Tune in all season long for the Bob Stores easy as 1, 2, 3 strikeout. Bob Stores is your destination for Red Sox gear, top brand footwear, and casual clothing for the entire family. Bob Stores, official apparel store of the Boston Red Sox.
Blum now at third base. First time the Padres have had a base runner at third. And here is Michael Barrett just coming over from the Chicago Cubs. Just had some fiery exchanges over the years as a member of the Cubs, of course, in a shoving situation with a starting pitcher of his at the time, Victor Zambrano, in the dugout at Wrigley Field. And of course, the fight a couple of years ago with A.J. Pierzynski. Interleague play when the Cubs played the White Sox. The pitch is strike, and the count evens at 1-1. On deck, Adrian Gonzalez. Left side, Lugo. Low throw, but it's picked by Big Papi at first base. Lugo can thank Ortiz for that one. It's 3-0 Red Sox.
Well, David Ortiz does not place much first base except at interleague play, and the right here saves an error and a run. As he picks a tough one out of the dirt, that ball bounced way out in front of him. Not an easy play for Ortiz. But he handles it and saves the Red Sox a run, saves Lugo an error.
Well, it's Lugo who leads it off here in the top half of the 4th inning. Red Sox sent 8 men to the plate in the 3rd, scored 3 times against Jake Peavy. Lugo grounded out to first base back in the 2nd inning.
On one of the note in the All-Star party, if you go in there to order tickets, please check to see who won my free tickets of Remdog Nation for the next homestand, which begins on Friday. The season tickets that I give away for every single game. The names are posted for those who have won.
To third base, Kuzminov. And Lugo the first out of the inning. Let's check out the Aflac trivia question today.
Aflac!
And the question is, who are the last 2 National League pitchers to win the Triple Crown? We'll have the answer for you a little bit later.
What's that, highest batting average, home runs, and RBIs?
Not if you're a pitcher, no.
Oh, no. Well, they do hit in the National League.
That's true. Josh Beckett was a pretty good hitter. He grounded out to third base first time up. Strike from Peavy, and it's 1-2. An RBI double, a run on Tuesday in Atlanta. As the count evens up now at 2-2. Mentioned the home run he hit in a Red Sox uniform was off Brett Myers. He also hit one on September 8th of 2005 in his final season with the Marlins off John Patterson, the Washington Nationals. Worked a full count here against Jake Peavy. The top of the Red Sox order, Coco Crisp on deck. Ground ball, base hit into right field. Second hit of the season for Beckett in 9 tries.
Now, Beckett's a good hitter. I mean, he stands at the plate like he knows what he's doing. He's straight up and down. He's not intimidated. And there he takes the fastball with an inside-out swing to the opposite field for the base hit. Boy, look at his head, right on the ball, right on contact.
I'd like to see more hitters do that.
Well, first with 1 down for Coco Crisp. He was fly to left and singled. Came around to score the Red Sox first run after singling in the third inning. To right field. Jose Cruz Jr. is there to make the catch, and there's 2 down.
On this week's new episode of Charlie Moore Outdoors, Charlie brings his wife on a long overdue romantic getaway to the island of Curacao. But the mad fisherman can't go on vacation without fishing, so Charlie brings the crew along for fishing, swimming with dolphins, and flying trapeze. Tune in tonight at 8 for a Curacao vacation, Madfish style, on Charlie Moore Outdoors. So it's going to be a romantic getaway for Charlie, but he's bringing the crew with him.
2 down with Beckett at first base. And Alex Coro's been aboard twice against Jake Peavy, hit by a Jake Peavy pitch in the first inning. And then he singled and scored in the third.
Talks about Beckett being a good hitter. When he was in high school, had a .506 batting average with 11 home runs and 39 RBI. Not bad. That's better than your numbers down in high school.
Just a little bit. What about stolen bases? How many stolen bases did he have? I'm sure I got him there.
You have to get on first base to be able to get a steal.
Not necessarily. Sometimes I would pinch run.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're pretty low on the depth chart.
Yes, I was.
Mike Narachi said this. I did. And he said, once you got finished picking up all the towels in the locker room, then they called you out to pinch run. That's your buddy Mike.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
I just thought I'd relay the message.
It was nice of you. Ball 4, and Cora's on for the 3rd time today.
But you know, you wonder when you look at Peavy, if all this running around he had to do, covering first base, covering third base, diving, rolling in the dirt, took something out of him. This is back in the 2nd inning. He was just breezing along, and here's where he trips at first base, almost gets spiked. Now he goes to third base, diving, trying to get Varitek out. And he's like the middle linebacker all over the baseball field.
The strike to David Ortiz has David talking to Dana DeMuth. Ortiz singled and scored last inning. Peavy already up to 88 pitches as he works here in the 4th inning. The numbers have been staggering coming into this outing. We took a look at his last 9 starts. He was 6-0 with a 1.93 earned run average. The Padres as a team 8-1 in those 9 starts. In a 6-game winning streak, it's the longest in the National League this season. Fouled off up into the top deck by Ortiz. And he's been great during the day. 5 day game starts, 4-0 with a 1.39 ERA. The 0-2. Fouled off again in action for the first time in the Padres pen. There's Cameron. The shortest outing he's had this season is 5 1/3. He did that in a win against Arizona back on the 19th of April. Ortiz lifts it to shallow right. Out goes Blum. In comes Cruz, and Cruz will make the catch. It ends the inning. The Red Sox strand a pair. We played 3.5, 3-0 Boston. Well, a tradition here in San Diego, the 3rd Recruit Training Battalion recruits and drill instructors from the Marine Recruit Training Depot in San Diego here at the ballpark today, and saluted by this great crowd at Petco. Other Marine facilities in the San Diego area, of course, the Marine Corps Air Station of Miramar, Camp Pendleton in Oceanside, California, where these The Birds are from about 30 miles north of San Diego. Of course, the Navy here as well. San Diego Naval Base, North Island Air Station here in San Diego. A very nice tradition that continues here in San Diego, as Adrian Gonzalez leads it off in the bottom of the fourth.
Yeah, they march into the ballpark. They in order. They stand, and I don't know when they put them at ease. I guess when they sit in their seats.
Gonzalez grounded out to second base first time up and was down quickly 0-2. It's Gonzalez, Cameron, and Green to face Josh Beckett here in the fourth inning. Only 2 hits surrendered by Beckett through the first 3 innings. Let's check out the answer to our Aflac trivia question. The last 2 National League pitchers to win the Triple Crown. Dwight Gooden, 1985, and Randy Johnson in 2002. Gooden was 24-4, 1.53 ERA, 268 strikeouts. Randy Johnson 24-5 with a 2.32 and 334 strikeouts. Gonzalez strikes out, and it's 4 strikeouts for Josh Beckett.
And again, the very good curveball here from Josh Beckett gets ahead quickly of Gonzalez, down and in and off the plate, and picks up the strikeout. 3 of the 4 strikeouts have been on curveballs from Beckett.
So 1 down, and it brings up Mike Cameron. Just to finish the thought on the Triple Crown winners in pitching, we gave the National League pitchers to do it. In the American League, it was done last year. Johan Santana in 2006. Prior to that, Pedro did it in 1999, and Roger Clemens in 97 and 98. The last 3 to do it in the American League. Cameron grounded to short first time up.
And for those unfamiliar with the pitching Triple Crown, Don, you might want to explain what that is.
It is wins, it is earned run average,
and strikeouts. And I guess if you've won that, you've had a pretty good year.
It's been pretty good, and chances are you're in line for Cy Young, as Johan Santana was. Khalil Green waits on deck. Back-to-back strikeouts for Josh Beckett, 5 in all. Cameron doesn't agree.
Josh Beckett much sharper right now than Peavy in this ball game. Beckett's got it all going on. His fastball, his curveball, just a few changeups so far. Pinpoint control, outside corner for that strikeout.
Pitching line brought to you by Nissan. 45 pitches for Josh Beckett through 3 2/3 innings. And ahead of Khalil Green, who struck out swinging first time up. To third and by low. It's a fair ball. And it kicks off the box seats. Manny will pick it up, but not before Green's into second base with a 2-out double.
Second hit that Khalil Green has had against Beckett in his career. The other hit was a home run. He gets the curveball from Beckett. Not a bad pitch, but the topspin ground ball right down the third base line, underneath the glove of Mike Lowell. So 3 for 4 last night for Khalil Green. The 2-out double here in the 4th inning.
Chance for Russell Branyan, who singled to center field his first time up. Branyan, who broke into the major leagues with the Cleveland Indians. Fouls the first pitch back. Total of 5 seasons with the Indians in Cleveland. 2 in Cincinnati, 2 in Milwaukee. Last year split the season between the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, where the Red Sox faced him, and the San Diego Padres. Inside, a ball and a strike. 96 on the gun that time for Beckett. It's been as high as 97. The battle of two great starters today. Jake Peavy and Josh Beckett. So far, Beckett's had the better of it. Fly ball out towards left field. Manny Ramirez. Inning over. Red Sox on top 3-0 at the end of 4. Back in San Diego, Manny Ramirez leads it off and swings and misses at the first pitch. It's a 3-0 Red Sox lead into the top half of the 5th.
I guess that sign made the air, Don. It was some of my Secret Service protection at the ball game today. Yes.
Very nice. Did you recognize any of them? I know you haven't been with the Secret Service very long. Manny with the line drive base hit just up over the outstretched glove of Khalil Green, his first hit of the day.
Manny now 11 for his last 27 as he takes the Peavy fastball that's down and shoots it up over the head of Khalil Green for the base hit.
So the Red Sox the lead runner on for the first time today. And here's J.D. Drews, 1 for 2. Swing and a miss. 4th time in 16 starts for Peavy that he's given up 8 or more hits. Red Sox now with 8 hits today. Too far outside, and it's a ball and a strike.
Get the Sunday Globes award-winning sports coverage every week. Call 800-984-5335 today for 50% off home delivery. The Boston Sunday Globes start the week off right.
Manny Ramirez at first base. Nobody out here in the 5th inning. J.D. Drew shoots it through the left side. Into left field, a base hit. Manny up to second base.
Change-up from Jake Peavy, and right toward the end of the bat for J.D. Drew, so he picks up his second hit. He came into this game only 1 for 14 in his career off Peavy, but 2 hits today. One of those hits a gift.
Action for the second time. Cameron back up again for the Padres. He had been up last inning.
Now Peavy's expected up 3rd in the 5th inning.
The first 2 have reached here in the 5th. Roll struck out in the 2nd inning, single to right to drive in a run in the 3rd inning. Outside again, and he falls behind 3-0. He has walked a batter. He walked Cora in the 4th inning. And a strike to Lowell, and it's 3-1. Talked about the big strikeout totals. 4 10 strikeout or more performances for Peavy this season. He's only got 2 today. Lowell pops it up right side. Gonzalez down from first base calling and making the catch and foul ground for the first out of the inning. Send it back to Boston and Tom Caron.
Don, our New England Toyota dealer game break. Ken Griffey Jr. back in Seattle this weekend for the first time since he was traded to Cincinnati in 2000. 2 home runs today off Miguel Batista, 584. He is now 7th all-time, 2 back of Frank Robinson. Don, back to you.
Okay, Tom, thank you very much. Back here in San Diego at Petco Park, where the Red Sox have gotten to Jake Peavy for 3 runs on 9 hits. They bat here with 1 down in the 5th inning. Runners at first and second, and it's Jason Varitek. Jason tripling in the 2nd inning and flying out to left in the 3rd. Peavy up to 104 pitches. The season high is 117 pitches. Did that against Arizona back on April 25th. Michael Barrett out to the mound to talk to Peavy.
Now, if he makes it through this inning, I doubt very much that we would see him hit in the bottom of the 5th inning, that high pitch count. Red Sox can do that to you. Get that pitch count up early in a ball game and get you out of a ball game early.
The numbers last year for Peavy in San Diego, he finished under 500. He was 11-14, 32 starts, a 4.09 earned run average. Did pitch over 200 innings, 202 and a third last year. Most wins he's ever had in any season. He had a 15-win season in 04. He was 15-6. Strike, and it's 2-2 to Varitek. On deck is Julio Lugo, as the Red Sox try to add on to a 3-0 advantage here in the 5th inning. Strike 3 call. 3rd strikeout for Peavy, 2 down.
Yeah, most of his fastballs today to lefties have been away. This time he comes inside corner to Jason Varitek. With 2 strikes, you're thinking away, try to protect the outside part of the plate. And that inside fastball will freeze you many times.
So 2 down, 1st and 2nd, and here's Lugo, 0 for 2 today, grounding out twice. And the struggles at the plate continuing for Lugo, who's now hitless in his last 25 at bats. Has 5 hits in his last 61 at bats. And Drew started the inning with singles, still standing at 1st and 2nd, but now with 2 down in the inning. To shortstop, and Khalil Green will go to 2nd to end the inning on the force out. Red Sox strand a pair halfway through this one. It's 3-0 Boston. Last half of the 5th inning back at Petco Park in San Diego. The Red Sox on top 3-0. Kevin Kuzminoff leading it off for the Padres. Taking ball 1 from Josh Beckett. Kuzminoff grounded into a fielder's choice in the 2nd inning. Padres have been held to 3 hits so far today by Beckett, who has 5 strikeouts and has not walked anybody. Josh Beckett coming in at 10-1 with a 3.14 earned run average. He's won each of his last 6 starts on the road, beginning in September of last year, with a 1.80 earned run average. And this season is 5-0, a 1.59 ERA away from Fenway Park. leadoff walk. Kevin Kuzminov drawn to first base, and we send it down to Tina Cervasio.
Series, we've been talking about the connections between the Red Sox and Padres mostly through the front office, but there's a unique connection on the field as well. Hideki Okajima was teammates with the Padres' Jeff Blum and Michael Barrett during the 1996 Hawaii Winter League. They played for the Honolulu Sharks. Okajima went 5-1 with a 2.0 ERA, and Jeff Blum says everyone thought Okajima was this unknown coming out of Japan, but he was our ace, and he was awesome, and it's great to see him succeeding in the major leagues.
Did you play in Hawaii, winter ball?
No.
You never did. I thought you did.
No, when I played in the Pacific Coast League, they did have a team in Hawaii, but I got called up late in the season. I didn't make that trip to Hawaii.
I know the Winter League existed there, and boy, there are worse places to have Winter League than Hawaii.
Sure, that'd be great. I played in Mexico in winter baseball.
Would you agree that it has been, well, they're not surprised to, I mean, it's been a huge surprise what Okajima's been able to do, but I think even for the media who travel to follow Daisuke as well as Okajima never expected this kind of success as Jeff Blum lines it into center field, and the first two have reached here against Beckett in the fifth.
Now Blum 2 for 2, both hits coming on the fastball. A line shot right up the middle by Blum. Getting back to your Okajima, I think the Red Sox are surprised at what he's done. And back in spring training, this was a guy that I don't think they had plans for except to be another left-handed arm in that bullpen. Maybe a guy to come in if the starter get knocked out. Instead, an integral part of the ball club in the 8th inning.
Termel Sledge is going to pinch hit here in the pitcher's spot, signifying the end of the day for Jake Peavy. Sledge got a start here last night. He hits at .217, 6 homers and 14 runs batted in. Peavy had just one at bat today as Royce Ring starts to warm up in the pen. We saw him in game 1 of the series. All of a sudden, Beckett has run into a little bit of trouble here as he's down in the count 2-0. First two have reached. And it started with the leadoff walk for Kuzminov. Now a single for Blum. And behind Termel Sledge.
That was a little bit of a surprise, I think, for Sledge to see the 2-0 changeup from Josh Beckett. Sitting on fastball. Last year, maybe he would have got a fastball. Not this year, the changeup. Had the off-balance swing.
The strike, and it evens up at 2-2. Back to the hard stuff at 94.
Dana Demuth been a little inconsistent behind home plate this afternoon.
To right center. And this is trouble as it gets down. Kuzminov coming around to score from second. Blum all the way from first base. He's in. Will throw to third base, and it's a one-run game. The pinch hit, two-run double for Termel Sledge.
Sledge gets the breaking ball, the curveball from Beckett, and finds that gap in right center field. So the leadoff walk really hurts Beckett here as the double is going to drive in 2 runs, and all of a sudden you get a ball game again. You know, 3 runs in this park is a lot. Still nobody out.
Well, Sledge now is a pinch hitter, 3 for 13, 4 RBIs. Knocks in 2 with this double. And it's back up top for Jose Cruz Jr. In on the grass at third is Lowell. Ortiz at the lip of the grass at first as Beckett bluffs off the backside.
Now the Red Sox expecting the sacrifice here from Cruz.
He was struck out, fly to right, and 2 at bats. Strike 1 from Beckett. On a day that Jake Peavy was not Jake Peavy. The Red Sox were able to get to him for 3 runs in this game. Back come the Padres. A walk, a single, and a double. Right back in the game with a tying run in scoring position. And Cruz fouls it off, finds himself down 0-2. Michael Barrett will be next. Fouled off, and we'll do it again with a count of 0-2.
Cruz is the leader on this team in sacrifice bunts. He had 5 on the season, but electing not to do so here in the 5th inning. They got a couple of runs with nobody out. They want to try to keep the pressure on Beckett and not give away an out with a bunt.
Right side as Ortiz gets it, and lead help. Beckett covers, but Cruz gets the job done moving the runner along. Well, Sledge is to third base and now just 90 feet away with the tying run with now only 1 out in the inning.
Well, no sacrifice, but just as good. Pulling the ground ball. It's a changeup from Beckett. And Ortiz makes a pretty good play on it. Ortiz going to his left. They'll have to get back into position and give that underhand flip to Beckett covering first base. Beckett tags the bag and immediately checks that runner at third. Red Sox pull the infield in with the 1-run lead.
Michael Barrett, who had 2 hits here on Friday night, does not have a hit today. He struck out in the first inning looking. Grounded out to the shortstop in the 3rd. Hard stuff inside at 95. Inside again. Padres had left 3 men on through the first 4 innings. But a walk got it all started for San Diego here in the 5th to Kevin Kuzminoff to begin the inning. A strike, and then it's 2-1 now to Barrett. It has been the bottom part of this order that has done the damage against Beckett. As the first 4 hitters in the Padres order do not have a hit in the game. And collectively are 0 for 9. Swing and a miss, and it's 2-2.
And that's what Beckett is looking for here, the strikeout with the man at third base with the 1 out. Upstairs with the fastball, and Barrett can't catch up to it.
Tramel Sledge at third base with 1 out in the inning. Here's Adrian Gonzalez as Barrett fouls it off to the right. 2-2 to Michael Barrett. Stays alive, getting just a piece. We talked about all the run support that Josh Beckett has received this season. He had a 3-0 advantage in this game, but the Red Sox have scored 74 runs while Beckett has been in the game in his 13 starts this year. He's tied for third most in the majors. He has 8.02 runs per Beckett's 9 innings received in run support. 7th pitch of the at-bat, and Barrett grounds it to short. Lugo's plays at first and he makes it, so Sledge was not off on contact, stands at third now with 2 outs, and the infield in pays off.
Yeah, not surprising because they have their best hitter coming up at Gonzalez. If they were working toward the bottom of the order, I'm sure Sledge would have been running on contact there. So by bringing the infield in, it pays off. They hold the runner at third base on the ground ball out to Lugo.
So 2 away, and here is that good hitter, and Adrian Gonzalez, who was 0 for 2 in the game, he was grounded out and struck out. And takes the ball high at 96 from Beckett. Janelle Sledge, who knocked in a pair of runs with his pinch hit double in this inning. 1-1.
This is a hard inning for Beckett. A lot of pitches and a lot of tough pitches to make with that man at third base.
A 25 pitch inning so far, 75 total. Two and 1.
Again, another close borderline pitch that Beckett does not get.
Sometimes today that's been a strike. Grounded foul, and it evens up now at 2-2.
Last time they struck Gonzalez out on a curveball. Let's see what they do with him here on the 2-2 count. Gonzalez has to be thinking in the back of his mind, hey, that's how he got me. Let's see if Beckett changes the plan. Changeup.
Ball 3.
Last time up, the curveball for the strikeout against Gonzalez.
Tying run at third base with 2 outs here in the 5th. The payoff pitch. They go to the breaking ball and strike him out again. The Padres get 2 back, but it's the Red Sox still on top 3-2.
Tonight at 11:25, tune into Nesson and let Catherine Tappan wrap up your busy sports weekend on Sports Desk Lights Out, presented by FW Webb. This week, Catherine brings your one-on-one conversation with Celtics legend Bill Russell, plus a look at the NBA draft with Dana Barros, and everything baseball with Steve Buckley. Tonight and every Sunday night, the weekend isn't over until it's lights out.
Well, the Padres get 2 runs back. They leave the tying run at third base thanks to Josh Beckett's strikeout of Adrian Gonzalez. And it's Beckett who leads it off in the 6th inning. He was frustrated by the experience in between innings after finally getting out of the inning.
That's almost an identical breaking ball that he struck him out in the previous at bat. He goes to it to get the big out.
After the strikeout, angry with his performance in the inning.
Looks like some of that might have been directed to Demuth, the home plate umpire.
little bit of inconsistency throughout the afternoon from DeMuth. As Beckett leading it off here with a count of 1-2. Royce Ring, the new pitcher for the Padres. The breaking ball right back at him. And a nice fielding play by the Padres pitcher. 1 down.
Well, Ring, we saw him the other night, and he struck out all 3 batters he faced. He's only making his 4th appearance. He's been up twice now from AAA. And, of course, that first appearance against the Red Sox, 1 inning, 3 strikeouts. Doug Brocail was put on a disabled list. That's the reason Ring was called back to the big leagues.
1 down, Coco Crisp, the batter. Pitch a strike. And it's 0-1. The shortest outing of the season for Jake Peavy today. Mentioned previously it had been 5 1/3. A game that he won. But today lasting just the 5 innings. Look at his line today. He threw 111 pitches. Back up the middle as Blum to his right. Fires to first, and there's 2 down in the inning.
Now this Wednesday afternoon, take the family to Showcase Cinemas for another NESN HD game night. Red Sox Live. Catch the Red Sox against the Seattle Mariners live at 4:30. The game is presented in NESN HD from the comfort of a Showcase Cinema Theater. Visit NESN.com for a season schedule and a list of participating theaters.
5 innings, 9 hits, 3 runs. You walked 1, struck out 3, and threw 111 pitches, 71 for strikes. Keep in mind, came in at 9-1 with a 1.98 ERA.
Now the inning that the Red Sox got to him back in the 3rd inning when they got the 3 runs, all the hits, according to my scorecard, were on breaking pitches.
And all the hits were singles. And 5 hits in that inning. This is grounded back up the middle. And a very nice day for Alex Cora, who's on for the 4th time today. The benefit of his 2nd hit, he's also been hit by a pitch and walked.
Yeah, he'd been struggling 5 for his last 39, but 2 for 2 this afternoon with a hit batter and a walk mixed in.
Here's David Ortiz, 1 for 3 today with an RBI. Came on his single in the 3rd inning. As part of that 3-run attack for the Red Sox in the 3rd against Jake Peavy.
No shift but on Ortiz, but they do have Blum back about maybe 10 to 15 feet on that outfield grass.
Early strike, and it's 0-2. Ortiz getting into it now with Dana DeMuth.
Now David's getting a reputation as quite a complainer at home plate, and there's been a lot of back and forth between Ortiz and a number of umpires on call strikes. And most of the pitches that David complains about are the ones that are away from him.
This Padres pitching staff very difficult to deal with. Lead the majors with a 3.01 ERA. Ortiz strikes out, and he was through that bat a long way, but he is not getting tossed at the moment by DeMuth. 3-2 Red Sox. 3-2 Red Sox on top. Home half of the 6th inning back at Petco Park. Mike Cameron leads it off.
Well, David Ortiz striking out on a breaking ball that stays inside, and after the at-bat, he just fires that bat a long, long way back to the dugout. Then the helmet and gloves follow. No ejection, and Bud Black came out and was discussing it with Dana DeMuth, the home plate umpire, on why maybe Ortiz was not thrown out of the game. But all that equipment did go in the direction of the dugout, none of it toward the umpire.
And of course, Ortiz got ejected earlier this season at Fenway Park by Tony Randazzo. And the same type of thing as he was headed back to the Red Sox dugout, right around the dugout. To third, and Lowell for the first out of the bottom of the 6th inning.
Time now for the Panasonic Plasma replay so you can catch this again in crisp, rich, detailed motion. And it's the strikeout to Gonzalez with the man at third base, the potential tying run at third. The second time he has struck Gonzalez out today on the curveballs.
So one down. Here's Khalil Green, who is 1 for 2. A 2 home run performance here last night. He doubled his last time up against Beckett after a strikeout in the 2nd inning. The first round draft choice in the San Diego Padres in 2002. Swings and misses, down 0-2. Still holds many of the records at Clemson University. 4-year college career at Clemson. And still ranks among the all-time NCAA leaders in career hits. 403, second all-time in the NCAA. And first round choice in 2002 by the Padres, quickly to the major leagues in 2003, the very next year. And now in his 4th season in San Diego. The Cubs had taken him the year before in 2001 as a 14th round selection, but he did not sign, opting to return to Clemson. And a first round pick, 13th overall the very next year. Foul outside of third. It'll hang at 2-2. Field line, J.D. Drew with a long run over towards the Red Sox pen, and that'll end up back into the seats.
Well, stay tuned after the game for WB Mason Extra Innings and Granite City Electric Extra Innings Extra with Tom Caron and Jim Rice. You get the complete breakdown of this great pitching matchup between Josh Beckett and Jake Beebe, plus highlights of the Yankees and Giants from San Francisco. It's all right after the game in high definition on NESN.
One down, a count of 2-2 to Khalil Green.
You think about it, Don, you never have to change the channel here the rest of the day on NESN because you got the ball game, you got the post-game show, you got the extra post-game show, you got the Charlie Moore, you got Sports Desk, and then you got Lights Out.
To wrap up the weekend.
Lights Out.
Inside again on a breaking ball.
Yeah, the crowd doesn't like it. That's just a curveball that just slipped out of the hand of Josh Beckett.
It's an even 90 pitches with one out here in the 6th inning. He's tied the last 4 batters in a row. Into center. Crisp is there. And there's 2 down in the 6th inning. So it took a while to dispose of Khalil Green, but he finally does. And it brings up Russell Branyan. He was 1 for 2 in the game, a single to center, and he is flied out to left field. Center field, Ramirez and Crisp as Coco makes the catch and ends the inning. Through 6 innings from San Diego, it's a 3-2 Boston lead.
Boston Red Sox baseball on NESN is brought to you by Honda, Molson, and by your local Lincoln Mercury dealers. Very nice. Manchester, New Hampshire, Long Beach, California, and Tallinn, Connecticut.
Well, that covers a lot of ground, doesn't it?
Sure does. Good dancers as well. Manny Ramirez leading it off here in the 7th. The league leaders are brought to you by Olympia Sports. Their leaders in runs batted in interleague. Manny Ramirez at the top of that list with 139. Then Carlos Delgado. First Ring back on the mound for the Padres. He has second inning of relief of Jake Peavy today. Manny hitting at .311 in interleague action with 46 homers, 138, actually 139 RBIs now in interleague games. He's homered in 23 different ballparks in his career, which ties him with Trot Nixon for the most ever by a Red Sox player. Up and away, and it's 3-1. Well, the news today that the Red Sox have announced their starter for Tuesday. It's going to be Kason Gabbard. After the rotation was kind of shifted around a little bit in the absence of Curt Schilling being placed on the DL. Of course, Beckett today, Tavares tomorrow, but they needed a starter for Tuesday, and it's going to be Gabbard. In Seattle, Gabbard is 7-2 with a 3.24 ERA and 14 starts with the Paw Sox. And the Red Sox will have to make a move to make that happen. Of course, David Murphy is here right now and played in the game last night. And fouls it off, and it's still a full count.
Well, you'd have to guess it'd be Murphy going back. J.D. Drew back in the lineup and healthy, and they needed an insurance policy here just in case play this National League club without J.D. Drew, but he's back. And, of course, the Red Sox will make that move, I'm sure, after the game on Monday.
Gabbard's got to face Felix Hernandez in game 2 of the series.
But he pitched one of the best games against the Red Sox this year, but it hasn't been a great year for him.
And overall, he's 4-4 now with a 4.00 earned run average.
He was ugly that day against the Red Sox, wasn't he?
Yes. Then ended up on the disabled list soon after that. Tavares goes in game 1, matched up against Jeff Weavers, just 1-6 with an 8.56 earned run average. The 3-2 outside ball 4. Manny's on. After fouling off a bunch of pitches, he's down to first base.
Well, that was awfully close too. It's one that a right-hander gives up on. It looks like it's going to be away, and then it breaks so much it looks like it picks up the outside corner.
So lead runner on for the Red Sox for the second time in 7 innings. And here's J.D. Drew, who's been on twice today, 2 singles. He's also grounded out.
This guy's tough on lefties. You can tell he kind of hides the ball. He drops down to the side a little bit. It's going to be very tough to pick up that breaking ball.
Got him. Drew strikes out. Second strikeout for Royce Ring.
Now, we've seen some ugly swings from lefties in particular against that breaking ball of Ring. You got to wonder why he's in the minor leagues, Don. Why? This guy's been done nothing but strike out people since he's been called back up.
Struck out the side in order the first time we saw him the other night. He's into his second inning of relief today, and with 1 out, 1 on, here's Mike Lowell.
It was 1 for 3 on the day. A single and an RBI in the 3rd inning. Manny with a very short lead at first base, held on by Gonzalez. Evan Cameron, who was up earlier in the game twice, is up again. Jason Varitek on deck. Red Sox batting in the visiting half of the 7th inning. At a 3-0 advantage, scoring 3 times in the 3rd. Padres with 2 runs back in the 5th. Lowell taking all the way, takes strike 1. On the ground left side. Green will go to second for 1 on to first base, and they turn the double play. It ends the top half of the 7th inning. We'll keep it right here at Petco Park in San Diego, with the Red Sox on top 3-2. Back in San Diego, the Red Sox on top 3-2, last of the 7th inning, as Kevin Kuzminoff leads it off. And Josh Beckett, who has thrown 93 pitches today, averages 94. And a season high of 117. He has retired the last 6 batters in a row. And the first baseline and foul. 117 pitches that he threw, and his season high was over 6 1/3 innings against the Yankees at home back on May 29th. There is action in the Red Sox pen. Hideki Okajima, who was part of the victory in Game 1 of the series against these Padres. Padres with more action in the pen. Scott Linebrink is up. We've seen 2 innings from Royce Ring, and he is scheduled to bat 3rd in this inning. Fly ball to deep left field. Ramirez back at the wall to make the catch in front of the 357 marker. And again, we see this big old ballpark in San Diego and the effect that it has.
Yeah, that ball was hit very well by Kuzminoff, and when it left the bat, you're thinking home run because of the contact. It's a bad breaking ball that stays inside, but plenty of real estate as Manny goes back to the wall, and that's what frustrates these San Diego hitters. I think Beckett likes the ballpark. He got away with a bad pitch.
Jeff Blum batting. He has 2 hits today, making a start at second base. Marcus Giles with the day off so far. Single to right, single to center for Blum. And a fly ball this time in the shallow center field for Coco Crisp. 2 down in the 7th inning. Let's check out what's on tap for the Red Sox, brought to you by Heineken. Power to this 4-corner trip for the Red Sox. Took 2 out of 3 from Atlanta. So far a game each in the series against the Padres. Then it's off to Seattle after the game today, and against the Mariners. 3-game series beginning tomorrow night from Safeco Field in Seattle. And then finally back home again. Now July is pretty good for the Red Sox from a homestand perspective. I think it's just 10 road games for the entire month, including the All-Star break mixed in there as well. As the Red Sox doing their fair share of traveling. This is the 2nd straight trip out west, the 2nd trip of 3 to the West Coast. As the Red Sox later this season will travel again to Seattle and then take on the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, which the Red Sox have not yet played this season in Anaheim. Headley will pinch hit in the pitcher's spot. 176 hitter. He takes ball one from Josh Beckett. They brought up from AA San Antonio on the 15th of June, bypassing AAA altogether to get to the major leagues. A second-round pick by the Padres in 2005 is out of the University of Tennessee. An even 100 pitches now for Josh Beckett. He was behind the pinch hitter Headley, 2-1. Top of the order, Jose Cruz Jr. waits on deck. Yeah, that hit him, and he's down to first base. Breaks up a string of 8 in a row retired by Beckett.
It was kind of strange, you know, when Headley stepped out against Beckett, it looked like it frustrated Josh Beckett. And then he throws that curveball and hits him to allow the runner with 2 outs.
Here's Jose Cruz Jr., who is 0 for 3 in the game. He was struck out fly to right and grounded out to first base.
I was talking about a little bit earlier when Headley stepped out of the batter's box as Beckett was getting his sign, and it seemed to see his head drop to the side. He seemed agitated by that, and then he eventually hits him with a breaking ball. Not intentionally, of course, but almost like it took him out of his rhythm.
Foul tipped into the catcher's mitt, 1-2. Michael Barrett on deck, 2 down here in the bottom of the 7th inning for the Padres.
Headley does not have a steal on the season.
Cruz strikes out. Beckett, through 7 innings, has a 3-2 lead over the Padres.
Stay tuned after the game for WB Mason Extra Innings with Tom Caron and Jim Rice. You'll get the complete post-game reaction from the series finale, including Josh Beckett's post-game comments, plus highlights on this last day of interleague play, including the Twins and Marlins from Florida, Johan Santana against Dontrelle Willis. It's all right after the game in high definition, and it's on NESN.
3-2, the Red Sox on top as we head to the top half of the 8th. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by New England Ford dealers. Have you driven a Ford lately? The new pitcher is Scott Linebrink.
Second time we've seen him in this series. He worked on the 23rd yesterday, as a matter of fact, an inning, and had a strikeout against the Red Sox. Overall, his 31st appearance of the season.
Takes over for Royce Ring, who pitched 2 shutout innings. Giving up a hit, a walk, and he struck out 2. And kept the Red Sox right where they were after Jake Peavy had given up 3 runs in his 5-inning effort. It's Varitek, Lugo, and then the pitcher's spot expected in the inning. And Beckett does have a helmet on. It looks down there in the Red Sox dugout. And bat ready to go. Thrown 105 pitches. Veritek tripled in the second. He's 1 for 3. And takes ball 3. Linebrink last year had 7 victories and 68 strikeouts in relief. Led the National League in holds last year. 3-0 pitch, and Veritek takes it to deep center. Cameron back, and it's headed to the beach. Solo shot for the captain that puts the Red Sox on top 4-2.
Well, again, you know, you work toward the bottom of the lineup and you get the green light more on the 3-0 counts. He gets a 3-0 fastball, and Veritek puts a real charge in this one, 400 feet out to that area where he plants this one in the sand.
That's the first time he's ever hit it to the beach. As Julio Lugo stands in, little breathing room now for the Red Sox. They grab an insurance run here in the 8th. Lugo 0 for 3 in the contest today. And now Barrett out to talk to Linebrink. So a triple and a home run today for Jason Veritek in 4 at-bats. Been very consistent. Linebrink appearing in 73 games in 3 straight seasons coming into this year. 04, 05, and 06, 73 appearances each season. And got behind Veritek 3-0, who had the green light and takes it out of the yard, and now is behind Lugo 3-0. There's a strike, 3-1. Waiting on deck. Joe swats at it, sends it foul down the right field line, back and out of play. Lugo, the only member of the Red Sox starting 9 not to have a hit today, and that includes the pitcher Josh Beckett, who singled in the 4th inning. And a walk as Lugo heads down to first base.
Tomorrow night at 9, Olympia Sports presents the Boston Globe pregame show with Tom Caron and Dennis Eckersley. They'll preview the pitching matchup in Game 1 of the Mariners series between Julian Tavares and Jeff Weaver, plus a closer look at Sox prospect Jed Lowry. It's all tomorrow night at 9, right after Red Sox Monster Monday at 8:30, only on NESN. Also tomorrow night show, Tina will play 9 innings of Big Papi on Red Sox Monster Monday. Was that a marriage proposal, Don?
I think it was.
Well, my wife probably wouldn't mind and get me out of her hair, but the problem is she'd probably dump me after about 6 months and take half.
Once she got to know you?
Huh? Yeah. Yeah. When she realizes I don't leave the room, then she said, well, I'm just going to take half of his stuff.
Well, Beckett trying to bunt first time. He'll try again. Quick check at first base on Lugo. Why do you think it would take 6 months?
Yeah, probably you're right. Probably a lot less than that. One's lasted 32 years. I don't know how the heck in the world that's happened. How about this, a bunt and run? Lugo taking off on the pitch, and Beckett trying to bunt it, but bunts it foul. The idea of a bunt and run is to try to drop it down the third baseline, and hopefully Lugo can continue on the third with nobody covering, but Beckett fouls it off.
Try it here with 2 strikes on the batter. Now he pulls it back, lanes out to the pitcher, turns into a double play. Wow. pulled it back on the 0-2 pitch and lines out to line Brink, and it turns out to be 2 down.
You know, you can tell the guys like Beckett who have been in the National League and have had to hit, they do different things. A fake bunt, slap at it, and a line drive, but right back to line Brink. And of course, he had to wait for Gonzalez a little bit to get back there, and they get the double play. But I mean, these are things National League pitchers will do.
Nice footwork by Gonzalez, tried to backpedal onto the bag. So 2 down now, bases empty for Coco Crisp. Shows bunt, gets everything out of the way, and it misses for ball 1. Coco with a single back in the 3rd inning, 1 for 4 today. Red Sox with 11 hits today, out hitting the Padres 11-5, and they've registered their first run since the 3rd inning on a home run by Jason Varitek to begin the top half of the 8th. That's a good looking lid.
Yeah, what is that? It looks like cotton candy. A cotton candy hat?
Why wouldn't you? That's fantastic.
It's like the hair of some of the people in our business.
The 1-2 is in the air to right field. Jose Cruz Jr. back there almost to the track, will make the catch that ends the inning. Home run for the captain to the beach. Red Sox lead at 4-2. 4-2, Red Sox on top, last half of the 8th back in San Diego. Josh Beckett has thrown 105 pitches through the first 7 innings, back out there for the 8th. Michael Barrett leading it off for the Padres, and after the first pitch, lifts the fly ball to left. Manny puts it away for out number 1.
There's a great new look to the Red Sox Nation program in 2007. It has rewards, gifts, and unique ticket opportunities. Become part of the global fan base that has made their citizenship in Red Sox Nation official. Visit RedSox.com today. And as we've told you, Don, Tom Werner's donated his tickets for the next homestand. Again, we're going to be giving away other things, so it's never too late to become a member of Red Sox Nation or the Don Orsillo fan club.
Powder blue. Wow. Good point. I'm gonna break that jacket back out again.
Yeah, that's quite a looker.
Adrian Gonzalez 0 for 3 in the game. He was grounded out to second and struck out twice.
And all these free things we're giving away at both nations, Rum Dog Nation, Red Sox Nation. I mean, just because you haven't signed up, you can sign up and you still be eligible to win all these things that are coming up the rest. A lot of games left. Okajima.
The attendance today in another great crowd in San Diego, 44,449. It is the 2nd largest crowd this season, the 4th largest ever at Petco Park, and for the 3-game series, 133,311, the largest ever for a 3-game series at Petco Park. And so many Red Sox fans have made it out here for this weekend series at this beautiful ballpark.
You know, it's funny. Last night, the first night we walked back to the hotel, it was absolutely crazy out there, Red Sox fans, because the Red Sox won. Last night, Red Sox lose. Much quieter walking back to the hotel. It's amazing how they take the, the win, the difference in the wins and losses. Very quiet crowd as we headed back with our motorcade to the hotel. Of course, the bar wasn't quiet last night at the hotel.
Oh, sounded
very loud.
Very loud.
Very loud.
Strike 3 call. 3rd time that he's gotten Adrian Gonzalez, and there's 2 down in the 8th. It's strikeout number 8 for Josh Beckett.
All 3 times with the curveball. 2 times inside, this time outside corner. You just had Gonzalez shaking his head all afternoon.
In this marquee pitching matchup, Josh Beckett has lived up to his end of the deal. He has the first 2 outs of the 8th inning in search of win number 11 of the season, coming in at 10-1. While Peavy chased after just 5 innings, throwing 111 pitches, and is on the hook.
I honestly believe, Don, that all that running around by Peavy in that 1 inning, first base, third base, it took something out of him, because he didn't look like the same guy after that. And the Red Sox singled him to death in the 3rd inning, all on breaking balls.
Cameron to right center field. Long run for Crisp, still going back towards the wall. And it's off the wall as he'll head to second base. Got himself a 2-out double. And in scoring position here in the 8th.
Now Cameron's had a nice little series. 2 for 4 last night. Picks up the double here. Hit a ball hard earlier in this ball game. Fastball from Beckett. Hits it a long way, but it's going to be off the screen in front of the beach. That's so the Whales don't come on the field. A lot of good stuff coming out, you know?
Yeah, that was pretty good. Cameron at second base. Khalil Green 1 for 3. Fly ball to right. Drew's got it sized up. Done with 8 from San Diego. Red Sox on top 4-2. Back at Petco Park in San Diego, and it's time now for the game summary brought to you by your local Lincoln Mercury dealers. David Ortiz with an RBI single as part of a 3-run 3rd inning for the Red Sox. Back came the Padres, though. Termel Sledge with a 2-run double that brought the Padres back within a run. It's now 4-2 Sox, and some very good pitching today by Josh Beckett, who's gone the first 8 innings and given up just 2 runs. Beckett in the ball game has struck out 8 batters and walked only 1. A new pitcher on, and the first time this series that we've seen the closer who's not pitched in a while, Trevor Hoffman.
No, it's been a long time since June 16th when he picked up his 19th save against Chicago. That's the last time Hoffman worked.
To center field, Mike Cameron gliding back, makes the catch to retire Cora. They've been on base 4 times today. It's the first time they've gotten Cora. Down, and it brings up David Ortiz. And of course, Trevor Hoffman became the first pitcher in Major League history to record 500 saves back on June the 6th against Los Angeles. Ranks 5th in the National League with 19 saves this season. And the all-time saves leader with 501 career saves. Also has 982 career strikeouts, 18 shy of becoming the 7th reliever all time to have 1,000.
And that's his best pitch right there, his changeup. He's not a hard thrower. He only throws in the mid-80s with his fastball, but that changeup down to 73. And that's how he's made a living.
He's got 15 consecutive saves without blowing one, as the strike to Ortiz. See you later. He strikes out and not happy about it again. As he walks away, striking out for the 3rd time, 2 down.
Back-to-back changeups to Ortiz, both at 73 miles an hour. That's interesting. You got Trevor Hoffman, you got Glenn Hoffman as a coach. Plus, when I was at the Angels, their father was a usher at part-time job, usher at Anaheim Stadium.
Well, he hits a fly ball to center field, and Trevor Hoffman has not worked in a while. Takes care of the Red Sox on just 5 pitches in the 9th. We'll see as Papelbon in the pen right now as we head to the bottom of the 9th inning. It's 4-2 Red Sox. Boston Red Sox baseball on NESN is brought to you by New England Ford Dealers. Sovereign Bank, the official bank of the Red Sox cable network. The New England Chrysler dealers. Pepsi. And by Southwest Airlines. Ninth inning back in San Diego, the bottom of, with the Red Sox on top 4-2 in the bottom of the ninth. And on at first base defensively for the Red Sox is Kevin Youkilis. David Ortiz comes out of the game. And in is the closer, Jonathan Papelbon.
Papelbon making his second appearance of this series. Had 2 strikeouts in an inning back on game 1. 17 saves and 18 opportunities for Papelbon. And back on Friday night, a couple of strikeouts as we mentioned. Fastball up to Sledge, and then a splitter to Gonzalez.
He'll first face Russell Branyan. Branyan swinging at the first pitch, fouls it off. He's singled back in the second inning. Since then, he's flied out twice.
What a job tonight, this afternoon, I should say, by Josh Beckett. 8 strong innings. Had the one blip back in the 5th inning when he walked the leadoff man. A double, scored 2 runs, but that's it.
6 hits, 2 runs, a walk, and 8 strikeouts. 116 pitches for Beckett. As Branyan down 0-2. Papelbon 4 for 4 in save opportunities in interleague this season, pitching in the last interleague game of the season for the Red Sox. A ball, and it's 1-2. Kevin Kuzminoff on deck for the Padres. Check swing grounder, and it sounded like he may have broken the bat as it went down the third baseline, and he did.
Stay tuned after the game for Granite City Electric Extra Innings Extra with Tom Caron and Jim Rice. You'll get the manager's assessment of this series finale and Terry's take with Tina Zavasio as part of our comprehensive clubhouse reaction. Plus a look ahead to the 3-game series against the Mariners that begins tomorrow night. It's all right after the game in high def, and it's right here on NESN.
1-2 the count to Russell Branyan, who leads it off here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Two and two. Well, for the most part against Branyan, Jerry, you mentioned it many times, you get that fastball up against him once you have 2 strikes. Went up that time, but inside, and it's 2-2. Full count now. Had been 0-2. They go up and they strike him out. 1 down in the 9th.
He just has a tough time laying off that high fastball that's out over the plate. If he takes it, it might be ball 4.
One down now for Kevin Kuzminoff. Reached on a fielder's choice in the 2nd, walked and scored in the 5th, fly to the warning track in left field in the 7th inning. Oh, 0-2.
He is very, very tawny on these fastballs from Jonathan Papelbon.
Got him. Well, they just stayed on that fastball, and as late as he was, no reason to change the plan. They strike him out.
Now, that was a no chance. I mean, he had no chance in that at bat against Papelbon.
So 2 down in the 9th inning. The Red Sox got 8 from Beckett. They bypassed Okajima. And it's Papelbon who has the first 2 outs of the 9th inning. Jeff Blum has had a nice day. Couple of hits, 2 for 3. In fact, the only member of the Padres to have a multi-hit afternoon. Foul back to the screen.
First splitter from Papelbon. First time he has not thrown a fastball in this game.
Josh Bard has grabbed a bat, and he's on deck in the pitcher's spot. The 0-1 to Blum. The ball, and it's 1-1. Red Sox able to take 2 out of 3 from the Atlanta Braves before arriving here in San Diego. Victory today would give them 2 out of 3 against the Padres before heading to Seattle on this long road trip. Two and 1.
3 straight splitters to start off Blum.
Two outs in the 9th. 2-1 the count to Blum. Right side. Coraz got it on to first. Red Sox win. An easy 9th for Jonathan Papelbon. The Red Sox take 2 out of 3, and Beckett a winner for the 11th time this season, leading the major leagues. As a victory here makes him 11-1 on the year. And Jason Varitek with an insurance run, a home run that he hits in the 8th inning to give the Red Sox a 4-2 lead at the time and a 4-2 win now. WB Mason's extra innings right around the corner, so stay with us. Dran will be back here in San Diego right after this.
A real good ball game here from San Diego. Red Sox win it 4-2. The play of the game is brought to you by Foxwoods Resort Casino. We're going to give it to Jason Varitek for his 8th home run of the season, coming back in the 8th inning, hit it into the beach area, and that gave it a little bit more comfort room for the Red Sox in the late innings.
Final score again, 4-2. The Red Sox take 2 out of 3. For Jerry Remy and Tina Savasio, I'm Don Orsillo saying good night from Petco Park. Tune in tomorrow as the Red Sox open up a 3-game series in Seattle against the Mariners. Coverage begins with Monster Monday at 8:30. It's time now for WB Mason's Extra Innings with Tom Caron and Jim Rice at the HD Television Center. TC?